Ghost Hunt at Hagood Mill in Pickens, South Carolina, June 14, 2025. Tickets are $25 and are sold on Eventbrite and in person at the Dark, Strange and Mysterious Market in Easley, SC on June 13th and 14th. Special guests for the Ghost Hunt is Brandon Cooper and Blaine Rohan. Hagood Mill is known for its rich history and mysterious activity. Can you see spirits? Can ghosts talk to you? Find out. Ghost Hunt, June 14, 2025. Tickets cost $25. We will gather at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and do a history haunting tour until midnight.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
This is going to be a bizarre night because
Lee, I'm calling this our CLB show, Creepy Little Bastards and Bitches.
Yeah. And there it is.
Already.
CLBs, baby.
We got some situations here.
Yeah.
I have this poor child. Oh Lord, this poor child. Am I last? No, you're last. So I'm third in line.
Yep.
I'm last because I have the youngest.
You have the youngest and the CLB of the CLBs. Yeah, you got the CLB of the CLBs. That's a creepy little bastard you got.
Yeah.
It is. We got some situations here. We do that.
Yeah.
Oh, Stacia, my girl.
My dear.
Can't wait to hug you.
I gotta talk to Stacia.
Yeah.
I know you hear me.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and throw the disclaimer up because we got some strange stuff to be talking about tonight. Blaine, you gonna kick this thing off?
Yep.
Where's my popcorn?
I know. I
Oh.
need me some popcorn for real. What kind of
Y'all ready for this one? Okay.
We ready.
No.
I got Charlie Starkweather. Okay.
You got two though, right?
Okay. I got Charlie Starkweather. Yeah, well, I got to get to the chick first. It starts with the dude. Charlie Starkweather was brought up in a respectable home with a well-behaved siblings. He was the third of 7 in contrast. Starkweather's time in school was unpleasant because he was often teased and bullied for his limitations he was born with. Genovarium, a leg deformity, speech impediment, and also suffered from severe myopia. The only place to excel was gym class, and he began to bulk up as a result. With a newfound physique, Starkweather transformed from being bullied to a bully. Old Starkweather was introduced to Carol Ann Fugate, who was 13 at the time. The two quickly hit it off. Gradually, Charlie convinced himself that he had to become a criminal in order to gain money and respect. On December 1957, Charlie committed his first murder and once felt euphoric and peaceful the day after Charlie robbed and murdered his first victim, Robert Convert. He admitted everything to Carol. The confession caused their bond to become even stronger and more intense. It was also led them to mass murdering road trip. Charlie, 19 years old at the time, along with his 14-year-old girlfriend, carried out 2-month spree that inspired the works of California and Natural Born Killers. The teen strangled, stabbed, secretly assaulted, and shot 11 different victims between December 1957 and January 1958 across the states of Nebraska and Wyoming, including his girlfriend's family. The day after their final murder, the duo ran into law enforcement, and Starkweather's girlfriend confessed, resulting in their high-speed capture. Starkweather was sentenced to death by electric chair and 17 months after he was arrested. But it doesn't say anything that they did to the chick, so I don't know. She probably because she was still a minor, they probably just let her off. I don't know, or just she did time in juvie. I don't know.
Probably.
Sounds like she turned him in. Sounds like she turned him in. She probably turned a witness for a lesser or whatever.
That's what I'm thinking, dude. I think she ratted out. It's like, I'm 14 years old. I can't survive in adult jail.
Yeah.
So I'll just tell it was all Charlie's fault.
Damn.
And who's to know? The little chick could be in his ear going, I think we need to kill this person. I think we need to kill this person. I think she was part of the manipulator of him figured out, after he done killed that first victim, it's like, okay, she got an euphoric high off of this thing. And now she wanted to do it too. And I think after she got her first murder with him, I think she was like, let's go get this person. Let's go get this person. I think she was egging him on. I really do.
I think you're right.
And then it got time for her to get arrested. Oh, she was singing like a canary. Blah, 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 blah.
It always happens that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She probably had some narcissism in her too.
Yeah.
That's always the perfect thing of a narcissist. Either, you pretend to be the hero or you're the victim. So whatever's thrown at you. So, yeah. Oh my God. That's nuts.
Yes. Yeah. And anybody watch the movie Natural Born Killers?
Yes.
They were the original Mickey and Marjorie. I mean, good God. Mickey and Mallory, I'm sorry.
Yeah. What was that? That was Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis.
Juliette Lewis, yeah.
Did they hear real guy? Hold on, let me put. I forgot to do this.
I think we remember talking. Woody Harrelson's dad was a hitman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's the real guy right there.
Yep. Kind of looks like Woody in a little way.
A
little bit.
He was the guy that was on. He was the serial killer featured on Repossessed with that damn clown doll.
I thought so.
Oh.
Yes, he murdered 2 people. They were a boyfriend and girlfriend. He looked like the guy from the Manson murders that was, going to prom.
Oh, yeah.
He looked like him, and he died trying to protect her, and they inhabit that Klondike. Clown doll. What a Klondike bar. What the
What would
hell?
you do for a Klondike bar?
Yes.
I guess a serial kill. I don't
Kill a whole
know.
bunch of people.
Hold a creepy clown doll and kill
Oh,
people.
that
Okay.
It's
There you
killing
go.
people. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, that's good. That
It's
is
been that
awesome.
kind of day. It's
Which,
just
do you remember what episode that was? So everybody could watch it on Hulu. So,
Florida.
yeah, the Florida one. Good.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
make sure everybody, after you watch us, watch that episode and see the
Please
creepy
watch
Klondike.
that one because
Yeah.
the very beginning of like the Sizzler, you see a woman running up to the window and she's holding her stomach and blood is gushing.
Yeah.
That was from that episode. And
Oh, yeah.
that little couple, they suffered so. And they're still traumatized from their deaths. And so they're hiding in that doll, trying to normalize each other. They don't want to leave. They just want to be together. I mean, they truly are in love. So it's just them being together and consoling each other. Yeah, he tried so hard. He tried.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my little memory of the victims.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Okay, Gwen.
All right, I got this little chick here. Mary Flora Bell.
Look at that.
She
creepy little bit.
she looks like she would be on the Little Rascals that was
I know.
friends.
Yes.
And, what's that?
Yes.
Dara.
Darla.
Darla. It
Darla,
looks like
yeah.
Darla.
Yes.
Holy shit,
She
she does.
has a haircut.
Beautiful.
She does.
Mama Jenny used to have that haircut, and that was really popular.
Well,
There used to be
maybe if Alfalfa was in her life, she wouldn't have killed everybody. So.
Yeah,
That's
there you
true.
go.
That's when she needed a good boyfriend, huh?
Yeah. Well,
Lord,
maybe she needed a good spanky.
Yeah.
She needed something, I tell you.
She needed that ass whooped. I'll tell you that now.
Yeah,
There
good
you
spanky.
go.
Our Darla.
So when she was 10 years old,
Mm-hmm.
she killed a little boy in Scottswood, Newcastle, and it says upon.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what happened?
She froze.
Oh, she's having trouble with her Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
When
almost
she-
think she's trying to say upon Avon because there's a lot of towns in England are called upon Avon.
That's
Well,
right,
no,
there are.
I think Mary Welser was Newcastle.
Hmm.
I don't know what's attached to that. I don't know my English side geography.
I just know
Since
I know where London is, Stonehenge is, and where
Yep.
Lakenheath, Mildenhall, and Alcaberry. That's the Air Force base. That's what I know there in
Yeah.
England.
Oh, she dropped
Okay,
herself. Maybe she'll come back
yeah.
in.
She will, I'm sure. I'm going to go ahead and go.
Yeah.
This little fella was 14 years old, and he was born in 1871.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and his crimes, well, excuse me, the crimes were between 1871 and 1874. They called him the Boston Boy Fiend. His name is
Wow.
Jesse Pomeroy. And his father beat him so badly that he was missing from school for a really long time. One of his eyes was completely milky, like it didn't look like, I mean, I don't know if it was something scar tissue over the retina, but he was blind in that eye pretty much from whatever reason. And the mother said, yeah, this is our lives, and he's not doing so well. And he was bullied, like what Blaine was saying his one guy was, but he went from being bullied to being the bully. All right, so here we go. All right, so he was convicted of torturing and murdering children in Boston, Massachusetts. He committed his first assault at the age of 12. The youngest person convicted of first-degree murder in Massachusetts, and he spent his entire life in solitary confinement.
Wow.
His whole life, once he was in prison. All right, so he's from Charlestown, Massachusetts. His father was a Civil War veteran and known for being abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And his mom is Ruth Ann Snowman Pomeroy, and she was a seamstress. And he had a brother named Charles. And he had a physical abnormality, just like what Blaine was talking about with his. Okay, Jesse was born with milky white eye. Okay, and it's likely due to a corneal scar, and that actually came from his father, an injury, and it made him look scary. and they called him Cyclops.
Ugh.
And I thought, can you imagine what that was like for a little kid, all right, so he was so physically abused by his father, and his mother just didn't do anything to help him. Failed to recognize or address any of the violence that the little kid was going through. Finally, the father abandoned the family, and then Ruth struggled to support her sons alone. She ended up opening a dressmaking shop, and then this is when Jesse started showing cruelty to animals, and he was described as intelligent but emotionally disturbed. His teacher and his peers noticed that he liked knives, blood, and inflicting pain. Okay, and then his father beat him with a horsewhip on a regular basis, and they say that horsewhip flipped around and hit him in the eye, and that's what blinded him. And his mother said that he had come down with a case of pneumonia that had left him not so well. Okay, so the children talked about being beaten and sexually assaulted by a larger boy. So that started going around, and then they started describing him, and they talked about his eye. And the kids, their faces and their genitals were often either cut with a knife or stuck with pins. Now, if you want to see this, this is in the Boston Globe. And so he was called, they were trying to catch him stuff, the boy torturer and the red devil, okay, by newspapers. And then 72, a boy was found tortured on the beach, and another was found beaten, raped, and tied to a telephone post. Okay, so that's 2 that are dead. Okay. Now, when they talked about, these victims talked about the marbleized eye, it pointed straight to Jesse, and he was facing 6 years at the state reform school. And then his mom got him released, and then here we go. All right, so victims were age 4 and 8, lured and tortured, found hanging by wrists, hypothermic and beaten. Tracy Hayden was beaten, stripped. She had her nose and her broken and her teeth busted out. Robert Mayer was beaten and psychologically tortured. Johnny Balch was 7, George Pratt 7, Joseph Kennedy 7, Robert Gold 5, all suffered similar assaults.
Shit.
And then finally, the murder victim was Katie Curran, who was 10, murdered in his mom's dress shop in the basement with her throat slit. He had her shoved up underneath some cloth. And then Horace Millen was 4, and he was stabbed to death and mutilated. And they were committed right after he was released from reform school. Okay. So after that, he was convicted of first-degree murder, sentenced to death, and it was commuted to life in solitary confinement. He died in prison in 1932. And there he is there. And you can see the eye is black.
Yeah.
And so you can't tell that it's marbled, but really there was no pupil there, that kind of thing. But this was a very significant case because it talked about juvenile justice and getting them help because, nobody helped him when he needed it. And then he came sort of like an Ed Gein thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Just the other stuff we've been seeing, the deadly layers that
Well,
created
just last week when we were talking about Danny Rawling.
Yes,
Beat
exactly.
him senseless just for stupid stuff like you didn't mow the grass right. It sounds very similar.
Imagine just a horsewhip of any sort being used on a human being, much less a child.
Yeah.
And
Anyway.
I can tell y'all from experience, I accidentally hit myself on one day. It hurts like a mug chucker, let me tell you.
The mug checker. I love it.
Hashtag mug chucker.
Okay,
Mug
Gwen's back. Gwen's
Yep.
back. Gwen's
Okay,
back.
guys. My head's full of something and I'm messing the internet up, and that's all I'm going to say. But anyway, my little crazy girl, and I can't show her a picture. But her name is Mary Flora Bell. And she looks like, what do we say, Darla?
Darla
Was it
from
Darla?
Just like Darla. Okay.
Yep. And let's see, I'm going to read from this because I can't memorize all this. But when she was 10 years old, she killed a little boy. And you know how she did it? She told him, "Oh, you have a sore throat. Let me help." let me massage it, and then she choked him
Good God.
and killed
Yeah.
him.
My
10
God.
years old. Yes. Now, between then and when she got caught, she killed another little boy. Now, the first little boy was 4. And this was in 1968, okay? And then sometime in that same, I guess, year, she killed a little boy that was 3. His name was Brian Howe. Now, mind you, this is in Britain, in Scotswood, which is a suburb of Newcastle. So when she was 11, she was put on trial with an accomplice, and her accomplice, who was named Norma Joyce Bell, no relation, they say, was acquitted. Yep.
I guess
So-
they didn't want to believe it.
Yeah, she
No,
started.
they didn't.
Yeah, she started early in that Chocoho tribe, didn't she? God.
But she is called Britain's youngest female serial killer.
Wow.
That is
Here's
what she-
another picture that you had.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where they were protesting.
Protesting that she was not arrested or convicted, or that she was what? What were they protesting? That she was a kid going through this, or
Well, I don't think some people wanted to believe it, but of course, then when they found out she actually did it, I was trying to read and do this. People were outraged.
I'd have
People
been
were
outraged.
outraged. People were very much outraged. And there's another picture somewhere of her. She
I got it.
wrote little notes, and this is one of the notes. You got it, Lee? That was one of, and we, as far as we can see, it says murder so that I may come back. I think she was saying, hey, I'm going to come back and get more kids.
Yeah.
But that was one of 4. I couldn't pull them all up. But this little girl had issues, man. Her mom was a well-known prostitute. Well-known.
Oh, Lord,
Mm-hmm.
So,
that doesn't help.
you know, she didn't have a good life. You know, she didn't. And that's not an excuse. But get this.
Mama Ho tribe.
Yeah. Get this. She was released. I don't have the date here. I had it on, but I can't look. Oh, in 1980, excuse me. At the age of 23, she was released. And she has a court order for lifelong anonymity, including her children. And I don't know. I don't think that's quite right. But
How did they let that woman have children? She killed
thank
children.
you. Yes. Yes.
She
I
should have
don't
been
know.
sterilized. I know that's not a popular opinion, but if
She should have
somebody
been.
is murdering children,
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
They should have took out her lady parts and just made sure she wouldn't ever have no kids.
Well, she must have had some, I feel like she had some coaching because they now this is 1968, okay, but they said her she had before trial they claimed she had diminished responsibility and was diagnosed with psychopathic personality.
Yes.
Is there a cure for that? I mean,
to say, really?
No.
What was the clue?
sorry, but shit. I mean, is there a let's just let you get out at 23 and have children and you know, nobody know who you really are. And yeah, there you go. What if she ran a daycare?
No doubt. Oh God.
Well, if she's under anonymity, that we don't know. Is
Yeah.
everything expunged if they do a background check on her, or is this stuff going to come up?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It
See
won't.
now
Yeah.
it gives a new meaning to CLB. Crazy little bitch.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Jeez.
You know, the
But-
craziest part, Gwen, of that whole thing, you know, the whole thing, Gwen, is I remember hearing about her,
Mhm.
and before she was caught, she actually went to the neighborhood mothers. They were mourning, and she says, how does it feel to have a dead child? Knowing that she killed him, and they didn't know that she killed him yet. So
Mhm.
that's sadistic right there.
Dude, that is straight up sadistic right there.
Yeah.
I mean, she was already probably that her mother's a prostitute. Don't play with her. Don't play with her. You know,
Yeah.
but you know that stuff happened. And then
Oh,
you know, 2 little boys, wild little boys, guys. Think about it.
Yeah.
She was brought up with a mom that was prostitute. Who knows what that poor child went through? But that's no excuse.
None.
Well, it is. You see your mom getting probably abused by these men in the house, and it's like,
Yep.
what's your first instinct? I'm just going to kill boys. They're men to me.
Yeah.
Well, who knows what happened to her? We don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
We don't know. But she was released at 23, and I guess she was cured. I do not understand that.
No.
Not at all. And Lee, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like I said, I couldn't get back on my computer, so here we are.
No. I just went ahead so we wouldn't lose track of the
I saw it. It was
time
on
we
my
have,
TV,
so
which
no
was
big deal.
working. Yeah.
So, well, each one of these little kids we're getting to is like the creep factor is just raising the damn scale. It's about to break off through the damn thermometer. Boom.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're just, it's just ridiculous. And, you know, I think I'm the last to go here, and then we could have a nice little conversation. Anybody listening in and all that, yeah, throw questions at us after.
Please
And
do, because
yeah,
Well, I see, is it Christy? I'm going to say this wrong, Christy, and I'm sorry. Rico? And she says psychopath. Yeah, I got you. I can't reach the comments, so I can't do them, Lee. I'm sorry.
yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
That's okay.
We're
I'm
living at the
coming.
seat of our pants on serial killers, supernatural, and murderers. So
There
every
you go.
like
It's
I-
always gremlins, too.
you know, it's funny though. We
There we
talked about
go.
so many serial killers, is now we're talking about freaking children serial
Children.
killers. And you know, that's
Yeah.
usually the phases they're developing. They're going to be serial killers, not become serial killers.
yeah, exactly. So
Craziness.
well, that's the whole thing is these kids when they're
Yeah.
at those ages, like I've talked about it before. When you're born till about the age of 7, you're still in that theta wave. You haven't really developed critical thinking yet. So there really is that disorder during that time called conduct disorder. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that.
Yes.
So conduct disorder is basically the beginnings of being a psychopath or, you know, those types of things. You know, it's just crazy. It's just repeated violence, you know, those types of things. These kids, you know, some kids, you know, they get angry and all that, but no, this is much different. They have violence, but they don't feel bad about it. They have no empathy. They're just liars, manipulators. So they're developing that criminal mind with that conduct disorder at an early age. You know, as they develop and critical thinking comes in, that's more when you're going to start figuring out, okay, these guys have psychopathic tendencies, antisocial personality disorders, things like that. And all these people that we're talking about have those things. But the guy I have committed his first murder at 7.
God.
All right. So that's what blows me away because, you know, in our social times now, there's so many people out there that blame the things on, oh, they play too many video games, they watch too much TV. But I'm talking about Amarjeet Sada, 7 years old to 8 years old before he was caught. He's
Lee,
from
there's a
India.
picture.
Yep.
There's a picture.
I'm coming. Oh
Yeah,
my
throw that
God.
picture up.
This child.
Yeah, he looks like, you know, he looks like he's about to take you out, you know,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
he does.
Yeah. But the thing is, he was from Bihar, India, which is one of the poorest states in India. And, you know, when you're brought up in that type of atmosphere, it's different. You don't have the video games. You don't have this. You don't have that. The parents have to work, and they work these menial jobs and all that, and they're gone for hours. And basically, the village is raising the kids. The kids are running around together with no parental supervision. You know, they're in poverty. And you know what that causes and all that.
Yes.
And just on top of that, you know, you're going to have, you know, that early, you know, introduction to violence. When you're in a impoverished area, there's a lot of violence. And that's what you're going to see, especially in that poor side of India. But it's still not an excuse. You know, all the other kids are going through the same stuff. But this one kid, you know, just took it upon himself. You know, at first they observed him torturing animals. And when the animals would scream, he would laugh at them.
What the hell?
You know, that's like a huge red flag.
Yeah.
But the thing is there's their parents there, they observe this and none of them are doing anything about it because when you're in these communities in India, you know, there are all these families together and they're all worried. Oh, if something happens, am I going to lose my job? Are we going to be shunned? Are we going to be excommunicated from our community? And then what are we going to do? We're not going to be in our community, in our little place, amongst our people. We're just going to be out in the streets of India, wherever. That was always the worry. So there's a lot of cover up. And I think that's where the thing got really bad because Amarjeet killed his cousin.
Oh my God.
He was 7 at the time. His cousin was 6. He choked her to death and then beat her on the head with a rock. And then, but the thing that got me is every time he killed, he tried to bury them. So what made him think that, okay, I'm killing, now I got to bury him? So there's some connect there with knowing that if somebody's dead, I have to bury them. So I don't know how much death he saw and, what happens when somebody dies, you have to bury them. Or if you're psychopathic and anything like that, you're not going to feel bad enough to bury somebody or go through that sacrament of, moving somebody on in that way, which I found very interesting about this Amarjeet guy, where he had the presence of mind to try and bury somebody he killed. Was he trying to hide them, or was he feeling, but it's so crazy that he would do that. But then,
you're right. I think he did it to hide his victims because plus, and death was a daily occurrence. So they always see people get buried.
But the thing with Amarjeet was he didn't care.
He didn't care
that if he got caught or not. And that's the thing that baffles me. If he didn't care he was going to get caught, why would he bury him? There's something going on in that kid's brain that we're never going to know. Now, his second murder was his 8-month-old sister.
Good God.
Okay. So these Amarjeet Sada's family, all these people in the family are dying. And in the community, they were mourning their loss and they don't talk to him. They let him mourn. So the family was not saying, oh, our young son there killed these 2 people, because again, they were afraid they would be excommunicated, lose their jobs and all that. So they covered it up. So, and this kid, it was, when they're covering it up, hey, he's just going to keep killing because he can't stop himself. He almost enjoys it, but doesn't realize that there's a cause and effect to it. Now, finally, he killed a 6-month-old. He took it out of their supposed daycare, which I don't know where the hell that was in this community, but somebody must have been watching, because he just walked in, took her into a field and, bludgeoned her to death with a rock and then try and bury her. But she wasn't part of the family this time. So when they found her missing, the police were called. And finally, somebody kind of gave him up and they brought him for questioning. And he's just sitting there. He admitted to it, showed him where it was, smiled, thought it was the greatest thing, didn't realize that he did wrong. He was like, that's just what I do. And they asked him, why did you do it? He just shrugged his shoulders. I don't know. So, and that's what it was. So in India, where the crimes are, he gets sent to a home until he turns 18. Once he turns 18, see you later. You go off and live your life. All right. So currently, this happened in 2006 to 2007. So he was 8 years old at the time in 2007. So he's gotten out by now. And
sure.
His records or his whereabouts been erased from record. So we don't know where this guy is.
Yeah, he's working one of them call centers just scamming people. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah. He could still be killing people. Who knows? Yeah. Because the thing is at that age, you're beyond what we know and what we study, and if you're beyond that, there's a lot of help that you need. In that area of India, did they have the resources in a poor area like that, or even where they moved them up a little further out? I forgot the name of some place in India that he stayed in this home, but did they have the resources to rehabilitate or to retrain his brain at that young age? I don't know. I really don't think so. So I think things are really bad for him. There was no record of it, but there was talk that he had changed his name and he only added an S in the front. So instead of Amarjeet, it was Samarjeet now. So nobody knows really where he is. He could be in the U.S. killing people for all the hell we know. We don't know. But I told you before, remember, 33 serial killers, directly or indirectly. So when these people get let out and they're just walking around, guess what? You never know. So.
Every hotel, every 7-Eleven. Good God.
No. I was looking this up because when we talked earlier last week, we talked a good bit about Hey, Blaine, it's me, Matthew.
Hey, Matthew, that's my cousin's
Okay.
husband. Hi.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, he was born bad, and some are born bad, and some are made. That's right, Christy. And I really feel like this child. Oops, excuse me. I feel like this child was born this
I do
way.
too. I think
He
he
was
was
so
born straight
young.
up evil.
Well, like I said, he's killed before really coming out of critical thinking. So some people in the area believe that he was possessed.
Yeah,
Some of them
that's
believe
what I
that
was
in that area, how India believes, you know, who knows, maybe they thought a jinn took him over or something like that. But yeah, that was part of it. Is he the proverbial bad seed? Could be.
maybe.
There's no record if he had head injuries or anything like that.
Maybe
Right.
he saw somebody doing this and thought that's what you did.
Yeah, exactly. It's
That
learned.
was one
You
of the
know,
things they
yeah, you
said.
witness violence, enough of it, but conduct disorder is another rare thing at that early age to be diagnosed with that too. So yeah.
Do you think?
Well,
that he-
honestly, I think they murdered him. I think they killed him. They couldn't release him.
Yeah,
That's just some of the rumors that are on the internet.
yeah,
But it seemed right because see, his family knew that he had killed somebody, and they covered it up, like you said.
yeah.
Yeah.
But where was he going to go? They didn't want to be responsible for him. The
No,
jails didn't want him, and he was
no.
so young, he outgrew what he could do.
yeah.
But that home must have known that, oh, he's turning 18, he's going to get out, and he's just going to kill other people. Who
Yeah.
knows why he was in that home if he did anything to anybody in the home?
Yeah. You'll
Probably.
never know.
You know,
You
but
don't think about it. In
yeah.
India, they have so many people, so many unwanted children.
Yeah,
Who would know?
yeah.
I mean, that's terrible, but who would know?
No, they don't. They don't keep the records like that, or they hide the records, and
Yeah.
they don't want the country to know or people outside know what's going on. But yeah, we're going to find out. But yeah, you're probably right. He was probably executed, by the state. Who knows? They
Yeah.
don't want that
Well, you
kid out
think about
there or
it, dude.
whatever.
They probably did because they didn't want to feed him. They didn't want to
Yeah.
house him no more.
Hmm.
And he was already the worst type of person to begin with, killing children as a child.
Yeah.
So yeah, they probably just made short work of him, and he's probably fertilizer somewhere.
Yeah. Yep. So in India, just their practices with some parts of that country are inhumane. But
There
yeah,
was and Christy saying the same thing. She thinks they killed him because he shamed their name. If he wasn't killed in jail,
yeah,
or if the prison system didn't kill him, his own family could have done it.
yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it. Think about it this way: they covered it up because they were so worried they would be kicked out of the community, lose their jobs.
Yep.
But I couldn't find anywhere if that actually happened.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and you probably
Now the
never
thing
will.
is, if it didn't happen after they found out they covered it up and nothing happened to the people for covering it up, and they didn't lose their jobs, what did they worry about to begin with? They should have stopped this kid from day one. So, but that's what happens when you think something's going to happen and you push away all thoughts, right thoughts, over something that may not happen. But sometimes you have to deal with it, when it's something to do with murdering your own family members, and you got a family member. Yeah, I don't know how people think. It's not my culture. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm never going to put myself into a culture I don't understand. But
Yes.
yeah, we could say all we want, but when you're in poverty like that and you're struggling, and yeah, I could see why, because I never lived in that third world style country. India's not, parts of it are third world, but
Well,
you
if
know.
you look back in American or Canadian history about work prisons, if you owed someone money, you were put in jail, and they didn't feed you in jail. It was up to your family to feed you.
Yeah.
And if they had to choose between feeding the children or feeding the one that was in jail,
Yeah.
you're just going to sit there and go hungry. And I was wondering I've been trying to go back and look into that because this was just very fascinating to me. And I can see where they would say, no, we're not going to take care of you. And so now he's just,
Yeah.
he doesn't fit in with his
That's
family.
something. If you're going to look into it, you got to look into the culture and their criminal system there, because you can't look at him directly, Amarjeet Sada directly. I had to look at things outside of the culture to really dig into this case, because there's really not a lot about it.
No.
You know, they just say the few things: he killed this, and that's it. And you can't really put together a profile of somebody unless you have a few more things and just psychological stuff too. So he was difficult to look into, plus being a child.
See, I'm throwing this out there because he was so malnourished. That he saw these other mouths that were going to take food out of his belly, maybe decide, hey, I'll take away some of the competition. But like you said, I don't know their culture that well either, but just common sense tells me, okay, there's the first ones he killed were small. Yeah. And they wouldn't eat much anyway. Yeah. But he thought, okay, that might be competition for the piece of bread I get now. And we'll get a third of that piece of bread instead of the full piece I was going to get. But you never know with that. That's what I can look into.
He killed 2 family members. So you're onto something with that, because you think about it, kids, they listen to what their parents say or what the adults are saying. And, they're running around and they're listening. Their parents are probably saying, oh, we got too many people in the village. We're not going to be able to eat. So his frame of mind, being violent at the time, is, oh, maybe I should get rid of a few of them. Yeah. So it's a good possibility. I like that theory, but I don't know, not being in critical thinking yet, because critical thinking would make him go, oh, we got to get rid of people to eat. And then he's going to go, oh, maybe I should do this. I just didn't feel he was at that age at that point. But then again, when you're in poverty like that, I think you got to grow up a little faster too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Framing, but being in poverty, starving, things like that. Yeah, your mind changes. You don't have the same mind like we do. If we're lucky enough to have 3 meals a day and a roof over our head, who am I to say, how I'm going to react psychologically if I'm in that situation? But I don't know.
There's so many factors too. It could be like he was jealous of those children for some reason or not. But who knows? With that culture, it just could have been he just was just a CLB, a creepy little bastard, and just like to kill people. Yeah, all the people we talked about today, there's similarities. There's just similarities to adult serial killers too. Most of them are brought up the same way, but some kill earlier than the others. I guess that switches earlier than later. It's pretty much what it comes down to.
I looked something up since we've been on here, and he's from Musahari, India, and as you indicated, it's extremely impoverished there. And even though Musahari may have juvenile detention facilities, one of the things that they explain, they do uplifting programs and that kind of thing, but it's marginalized for certain groups.
Yeah.
They teach them a trade between the ages of 15 and 25. So this kid was going in where he had very little he could do to work. And you had to, basically care for yourself, because nobody has money there. Yeah. So the initiatives that they focus on is education, healthy environment, and then it goes on to say that there's underlying socioeconomic factors for severe juvenile delinquency, and that where they are actually sent to other districts and other facilities because they lack resources. Yeah. And they're worried of the challenges the lack of rehabilitation and reintegration can cause to their communities. Yeah. I think that kid is sleeping with the fishies.
Oh, yeah.
He would be 27 now.
Yeah.
So let me ask this of you guys. And I did medical, I know Thomas did, and I'm sure Lee and Blaine, maybe he was so malnourished that he was not right as it is. Maybe his mother was malnourished and when she had him. So you never know.
Yeah, those are those factors. There's so many factors. And again, it's hard for us to really pick up when you're trying to look at something like that and not understanding, putting yourself into the shoes of that community.
Yeah.
I don't care who's watching right now. None of us, no, but
We don't know.
yeah.
No, we're just speculating here. I'm just wondering because I saw that Deep South Paracomicon.
Yeah, we have Butch Patrick and Johnny Zaffis are the big ones for the Paracon coming up.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I wonder if they'll thank me for mentioning them after we talked about child serial killers. I'm not gonna, Johnny's gonna give me a hard time if he's watching.
He's gonna be like, "What did you do, Tom?
You call me a child serial killer?
What did you do?"
I do have something to tell you guys. So just for a quick break, just want to say congratulations to everybody on All Access Network Television.
Mm-hmm.
So we reached 78,342 people on one channel.
Nice.
Within the last
Just
25 days. Just
one of these channels. Yeah, that's not mine.
And wait, hold on.
I'm listening.
Hold on. Oh, wait it. I'm coming. Wait. There. Ta-da!
Yay! We're back on Roku.
We're back on Roku and Apple TV. Yes. Nice. We do have a company that's doing the bridge for us.
Nice.
And I will let you know when it all rolls out so that you can see. But, we are putting us out on, and we're having to do it in bits and pieces. But you can go to Spotify and go to podcast, and there we are. And my husband loves it. The guys on the 51st Aviation Division love it.
Sweet.
So this is
they say really we sound like we're sitting in the same room, right, Lee?
Yeah. I've listened several times going to work, or sometimes I'll even listen at work.
Yeah.
It helps me go through my day. It really does. Yeah. It's like pretty cool listening because that I can critique myself and say I need to do this better, or I should have smiled more here. I criticize myself, but it helps me better myself to make sure this show is great for everybody to watch.
Yeah, you're exactly right. If you don't do that for your listeners to make the show the best it could be, then you're failing your listeners. Yeah. You got to Monday quarterback yourself all the time. Yeah. So.
Well, like all of us, we want to inform people, we want to entertain people, and we want to help people and educate people. Yes.
Please.
Well,
can you imagine if we saved that one person from getting abducted or something? That would be amazing.
Well, that's our thing. That's why we do what we do. We're not glorifying anything negative. We're not looking at, gosh, look what the devil does, and saying, ooh, no, we're here to educate, to discuss, to talk about mental disorders. I mean, that's really where these children are coming from, right?
Yeah.
The mental disorders, and people don't have the ability around most of these kids to do anything to help them.
Well, you're right. Just like you said, the devil. No, I said not today, Satan. Not when
today,
we're
Satan.
Not when we're on the air on Spotify, Apple TV, Roku, and YouTube, and all the stuff that we're on.
And Facebook.
Facebook. We're passing the message on, and again, people could reach out to us. Any questions?
Please do.
Even if you feel that you're unaware, if one of your children they're going through something, just reach out, because not only everybody here, I'm part of my group Leitreanna and all that. We're here to, listen and help children along with that, any healing or anything like that. And I know you guys all are too. Our group is HIPAA protected and just to help people, spiritual and all that. So,
That's
and you know what? We can't help you. We'll find somebody that will or can.
Do our best.
Absolutely.
Do our best.
Well,
one thing for sure, we're going to do what we can, and we're going to listen without judgment.
No,
exactly.
Right.
I mean, I didn't get a master's in psychology for nothing where I couldn't help people with it.
Speak it, brother. That's right.
Yep. So we're all in it. We're all in it for the right reasons. You got to help the living, and we also have to remember the victims, the dead and all that, and what we could do to heal them by telling their story.
Yes.
and
We're
helping
the
them
mouth-
get through or pass along because
we're the
somebody
voice they
acknowledged
don't
them.
have.
Yeah.
We're the voice they don't have.
Exactly.
Yep. And we want to be the people that keep people from being victims, just
Yes.
educating, knowing what to
Yep.
look out for, knowing how your community could help other kids in the community, teachers in schools, what to look out for with students and things like that. There's nothing wrong with stepping in because you have to. Because if you're not stepping in when you definitely see something, you are going to, in the future, possibly be the reason why somebody gets murdered or
That's
hurt or
exactly
injured.
right.
So, I couldn't live with myself if that's the
No,
case.
absolutely not.
hmm So, especially with these children,
Yeah.
killing at such a young age that we talked about tonight, or some of these other children that are abused so bad that they may not have had the screw unloosen at that young age that we talked about today, but just later on in life, those young ages and when those
Thomas,
things happen.
can you imagine though if those kids would not been caught, how many victims they would have had?
Oh
Yeah.
my Lord.
Christy's
Oh, my-
right. This is a serious topic that needs more awareness.
Yeah.
And oh my
You're
God,
right,
it just hit
Christy.
me.
Mhm.
Something just hit me.
Yeah.
So Amarjeet, imagine him sitting there having to watch a child,
Yeah.
knowing that that child is his cousin, the kid's screaming, he's hungry, and he knows now, like Blaine said, there's going to be less food.
Yeah.
Okay. But the screaming and the yelling and having to go outside and farm his own food,
hmm
which is what he had to do if he wanted to eat.
Yeah.
And now he's going to have to farm more food so this baby can eat.
hmm
And he's not going to have the right attention.
Yeah.
So he was killing his own family members. And then he said, you know what? Across the street, I'm going to watch that kid too. You watch.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't take it between that and probably having something else
Yeah.
where he
to-
doesn't have any what's the word, remorse.
Yeah.
definitely not. No empathy. Just lack of guilt.
Yeah.
No guilt in that kid. When the police asked him, why'd you do it? He was like shrugging his shoulders. Again, yeah, you don't know at that age.
No,
So
you
Blaine,
don't.
this is your cousin Meredith. I'm proud of my cousin. He's helped me with the loss of my baby boy, my mom, and my niece.
Mm.
Blaine, that's
It
so precious.
It was my pleasure because it's my family too.
Yeah.
I loved all of them. So,
Yeah.
and Meredith's mom took good care of me when I was little. Always made sure that we had food, make sure we got clothes on our back. She was always real good to us.
Mhm.
And hell, we sort of raised our cousin Lindsay because her mama sure didn't do it. And
Yeah.
I ain't gonna go into that, but yeah, I love doing it, and I love helping other people too. Like every time we do a show like this, the first thing I do after we get off air is I call upon all the victims.
Yeah.
And give them a soothing conversation and help them move past all of this anger and torture and anger and just fear. I call every one of them before we go to bed every night. I sit there and tell them myself, hey, look, we understand you, what happened to you. We're here for you if you need us. I will help you any way I can. Hello, Sophia.
Kitty wanted to be on the air. Yeah.
That's
But
right.
it
Robert says multi-level causation.
Yeah.
And then Christy is even saying he didn't see them as humans. He didn't.
No, he
No.
didn't. I think he
Unbelievable.
saw them basically as a competition
Yeah.
for resources. And I can understand it because I've been stationed in third world countries. I've been to the Philippines. I've seen how poor it is. I've been to Panama where you got two classes of people, very rich, very poor. You have a very small amount that are middle class. And most of the ones that were middle class worked on base.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they got to be because they were making back then, they were making like $12 an hour, which was like 100 times more. And a normal person was making 12 cents a week in Panama. And Philippines was even lower.
Yeah, it's just crazy how, we got so many people in this country that, unfortunately they complain, and I'm one of those people that I look at my life and all the struggles I've had, and I'm grateful for every little thing that I have. That's what it takes sometimes
Yeah.
as us as a community, just to be grateful for what you have. And instead of complaining, find a solution.
Yeah, thank
Doesn't
you.
matter who you are, you all have the right to find a solution. So,
Yep.
that's what it is.
In the immortal words, fight, fight, fight. Keep fighting
Mhm. Yeah.
every day.
So what's the topic next Monday?
Who we haven't talked about? We haven't done Boston Strangler yet. We haven't done.
Oh, let's do that one.
Have we done the Zodiac yet?
No.
No?
No Zodiac.
We've got the Highway Killers. Those
We
two.
got what do we got? The doctor there in Great Britain there, Dr. Death. So,
Dr. Death. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. I mean, we haven't done BTK yet either.
No, we
18.
haven't.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Maybe we should do that one
Well,
first.
wait. We're throwing all these names out and people are chiming in. If you're on here, who do you want to hear that we just mentioned? Or if you guys
Exactly.
got some
Throw it out
suggestions,
there.
we
'Cause
want to get you guys involved. So,
Please.
Thank you, Robert.
Anyone you want us to do, because these shows are good for us too, because it's lethargic for us to do these. Plus,
It-
it helps us send out positive vibes to the victim of these people.
Yeah. Because you're right, because we've done some of these shows, especially when we
Alright.
did the Oklahoma City bombing one. Yep.
Cleveland Torso and Murder Marsh.
Yeah. So Stacia,
I think that's the one.
Stacia and I are very good friends. We work together. We started Wardruna, and Stacia's a psychic medium, and she picked up on the potential person that was the Cleveland Torso killer, but nobody ever knew who he was. It was never solved. And the thing is who worked on the case? The famous FBI agent back then that was part of the Untouchables and all. So, but yeah, that would be a good one. And she
Black
lives right out in Cleveland. We
the
could
Black
have her on
Dahlia's
the
a good
show.
one, too.
You could have her on the show, and she could talk about how she communicated with. I wish, Stacey, if you're still on here, why can't I think of the FBI agent's name? Why am I drawing a blank?
What Elliot Ness was it?
Yes, Elliot Ness.
I couldn't think of it either.
She actually
right.
she actually picked up on Elliot Ness during an event, and that she found out that day.
Wow.
The day she picked up on him was his original house he lived in was being sold that day. It went through sale. So
All right, so
weird.
let's do the Cleveland Torso and Murder Marsh, and
Yeah.
then next Monday we'll do the Black Dahlia.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a good one.
Let's do that.
That's a good story.
Because what people are asking.
Yeah.
Okay, Stacia, I'm going to message you so we can talk, and I'm going to see if she can come on next Monday. Can you come on next Monday?
Yeah, she should be able to.
Thank you, baby.
Now, just so you know,
Yeah,
the cool thing is we say Cleveland Torso killer, but guess what? The Black Dahlia. So there was question that the Cleveland Torso killer might have been out that way at one time because it was so similar. But I think they rolled it out. But it's still kind of cool that we said those two things. So yeah,
So
she's coming
Stacey's
up.
saying yes.
Yeah.
I'll call her.
All right, Christy. Christy says she knows who killed the Black Dahlia. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll
Who did
talk
it?
to her
I do
too.
too. I know who did it too.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And Sean says one of his relatives was one of the Untouchables.
Really nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, so she says connected.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, we've got it going. We got it rolling. I do have one more announcement. And if I can just play this real quick, Gwen, if you don't mind. Hopefully it's not going to whack
I
out.
can't touch anything, so please.
Okay,
Please do
and then
not.
I'll take us out. Just
Poor
give me
Gwen.
Help us.
don't worry about it. I got it.
Hashtag poor Gwen.
Yes, poor grantees.
All righty. Special announcement.
Well, here we go.
So, my new cover for Your Psychic Connection and revision 2 is out on it, as well as the new cover
Nice.
and the new revision on Psychic Kids and the new book Haunted Objects. Possessions That Never Die, is
Oh,
going to be coming out in Savannah on the 21st.
Yeah.
Oops, excuse me, when we go to the Haunted Object Museum in Savannah, and we're
Yep.
taking the Haunted Lab. So that's it. We've got the Psychic Kids book. Our publisher is Over the Moon. I
Yep.
do recommend those of you that are watching, that know people, that have family members, whatever drew you to us. If you have memories of having psychic abilities as a child, please get the Psychic Kids book,
Yeah.
even though you're an
Yeah.
adult.
Yeah.
We did add Gwen and her things that happened to her, because it blended so well with things that happened with Blaine, that it made a point that I wanted to bring into the book. Then you can go with your psychic connection, and it's going to bring it all together for you.
That is beautiful.
Christy, I don't know. In Australia, I'm assuming you can get it through something like Amazon and stuff. I don't know. Is that
Yeah.
right, you guys?
Yes, you
I will
can
get in
get it
touch
on
with you, too.
Australia on Amazon. Yeah, she's got to get in touch with you anyway. If
Yeah.
not, I'll mail it to you. You
There
can
you
just
go.
give it to me.
Christy
Yes.
and Stacia, I'm gonna message you after the show, so just be ready.
Thank you.
Yep.
And just so
So-
you know,
She said she
the
can buy it.
books
She
are
could.
the
Yeah.
books are also now, as of this week, is on Books a Million, Barnes and Noble,
Nice.
all of them, including your So You Think Your Kid is Psychic.
Nice.
Sweet.
Don't forget Family Spirit, Lee.
Yeah.
Yes, and Family Spirit, part 2. And it's going to be called Crypts and Cryptids, Family Spirit,
Nice.
Crypts and Cryptids, and it's coming out in January.
Wow.
Don't forget Blaine has a book.
Oh yeah, dude.
There you go.
Blaine.
Our Sacred Journey. It talks about how I figured out I was an empath medium, and it has a lot to do with my family. And Lee and Matt were a big part of it, because we've been together in family so long it's not even funny.
I know, my love. You're my brother for real.
Yeah.
Just
That's
like
true.
Matt is Gwen's brother for real.
Lord, you ain't lying, huh?
Oh, honey. Sometimes it's just like,
What's that make me?
honey,
You're a competitor.
you're one of us.
Yeah.
You're one of us.
Yeah, you're
As-
definitely one of us, Patrick. So yeah.
Yeah,
You're part of the
the
sacred
community of the shamans, and
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, we
And
got
I'll
a lot
go
of them.
ahead and say
Brandon Cooper, my friend Stacia. We all stick together. We all have that bond. So
like minds. Like
Yeah.
minds.
Yep.
oh yeah,
And I
But
will go
no,
ahead and say it.
remember-
Lee's been on my butt.
yeah,
I am getting started on my book, and maybe by Connecticut, maybe.
yeah. There we
Maybe.
go.
I want it, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well,
We
remember,
are
everybody
surprise
watching.
guys.
Remember, you can meet all of us at the Connecticut
Yes.
Paracon.
Please.
So
please,
remember,
please.
under my name is
Pull it up,
www.paracon2ns.org.
Lee. Pull it up, Lee.
I'm coming.
up,
I'm
yeah.
coming.
I know you're not used to clicking it quite as much as me, but come on.
It's
Yeah,
up there.
Now
there it is. Johnny's
There
apple.
it is.
Oh,
There
just so you guys know, I know I had a live the other day that didn't go like I wanted to, but the big announcement between Saturday and Sunday's event at night after the event on Saturday, we're having 30 people at the most. You have to sign up, go to our CT Paracon at gmail.com to get your reservation. The tickets are going to be $125, but you're going to get a dinner and get to sit with the old famous Godfather himself, Johnny Zaffis, and you're going to be investigating with John Zaffis, myself, and I've been talking to a couple people, and there might be some two famous psychic mediums that might be joining us. So for the event. So you'll get that opportunity. It's still, we know the location, but we always like to keep it secret. We only give the location to the people that get tickets. That way we keep people away from the venue and not cause anything, that we don't want to have. But
That's awesome. That's
And-
awesome.
Yeah, to get the opportunity to ghost hunt with John Zaffis in his home state, knowing that the history at a famous location in Waterbury where the Paracon is.
Do we
So
get
you don't
to
have
go?
to drive that far. We'll keep it all in there. So
Thomas, do we get to go?
Oh, unfortunately,
Probably not.
unfortunately, there's some contract things that I have to follow through. I wish I could give out free tickets, but
I'm talking about
Well, there's
us.
only 30. They're keeping it small, but that's
Yeah.
okay because you know what? We will be there, and I'm sure that Thomas will make sure we
anybody's
get to.
allowed to buy a ticket, even if you're one of the special guests, if you want to go and all that. I think to be able to do that and be able to be with somebody like over 50 years of experience like John Zappis, I think it's good for people that are just getting into this, people who've been doing it for a while. It's an educational thing too. And yeah, that's what we're missing in this industry. So have some of the OGs give you a little run for the money.
We are there for you guys. This
Yeah.
is your Paracon. We're here to help you.
Yeah.
And if we get into something else, for whoever can't get into the dinner investigation,
Uh-oh. We lost
uh-oh,
Blaine.
yeah,
Uh-oh.
it did that earlier when we were
Yeah.
on earlier, before you guys came on.
I think his StreamYard is messing something up too, as well.
What I want people to know is if we could sell out the 30 tickets very quickly, potentially I'm thinking of adding something, but I'm not going to add it unless you sell out. So everybody out there, get your tickets. So get that going. We might have something else on top of that. So, but be ready. Right in Connecticut. So.
But if nothing else, if you can't come meet all of us.
Yeah.
We're going to try to do a live show if it works out, hopefully.
Oh, and guess what the other big thing is? On the weekend of Connecticut Paracon, why don't you let them know what time of the year that is and what we're celebrating?
I'm gonna cry.
What are we celebrating at Paracon?
The year. Yeah, come on, Leah. You know I'm about to cry. So.
What? Yeah,
I'm coming.
It's our anniversary. The network, All Access Network Television.
It'll be 1 year. 1 year of the network, and we're going to be celebrating with all the people at Paracon. So we might be doing a live broadcast from Paracon. And we want to have you guys there live to ask questions about all the serial killers we've talked about so far, or murderers. And it's going to be fun. And you get to be there with us, that true crime aspect, the supernatural, the paranormal, everything you could think of going on at this event. This is, for me, I know I'm running the event, but I still feel like this is the biggest event of the summer. And I want to make sure everybody's there. There's so many different people to see. So I know one of your favorites is going to be there, so join us.
Well, I am doing readings. Gwen is doing readings. We're going to all pitch in to do all the things that we do as best we can for those of you that love us, that have been giving us these views, these, like, share, and subscribe, all of this, we are selling sponsorships, and they are also selling sponsorships for Paracon, CONN. So if you're interested, please.
We're doing that. Oh, there's still some vendor spots, some very few vendor spots still left open. Just be there. And a lot of times we have the speakers. There's so many people coming, and so we're going to breaking it down. There'll probably be group talking. I know all of us will be talking about the network and serial killers, supernatural, and all that. So we'll have a big group of us be able to talk. But that's what we're going to have to do. It's going to be mostly groups talking, and I think there's going to be some exciting topics and educational and just fun. So that's what it's all about.
I agree.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to be there too, Stacia.
Oh yeah,
Stacia, she'll be there.
Yep.
So many great people.
That's my partner in crime. So yep.
I can't wait to see you.
Yeah. We all have our partners in crime. So
yes, we do.
Yeah. No, her and I work so hard together to get Wardruna off the ground and all that. So, when we first met, it's a lot of psychic mediums that were there at the time said, that's your twin from another life. And just, we felt that it's a spiritual connection, and being able to pass that on to people that need assistance with Wardruna, the Holy Sword, and all the things that we do to help heal people and help them learn about the paranormal nowadays. And we're all going to be there at Paracon, my friends. All of these guys, you'll
Blaine too, wherever he dropped off.
Yeah. He's in the Epiphany. He's in the great beyond. He's hanging out with his wife, probably. So spending some time with her. But I know he's listening. So Yeah. I mean, that was really deep what Blaine said, and he's exactly right. Anytime we talk about the serial killers after, we do that prayer after in the remembrance of the victims. And, you know, if you guys have been watching for a while, you know, crazy crap happens on our show. I was just saying,
I
especially
think
when we
you should
talked
stay on
about,
the internet.
yeah, well, especially when we talked about, remember when we talked about the Oklahoma City bombing
Yeah.
and that crazy energy that went through all of us as we were on, you know, you could feel it. It was like it was
Yes.
thick. And, you know, just having voices talk out and, you know, things come to you after, you know,
Well,
just to thank you, you know,
I
spirit
tried
wise.
I tried to talk to Blaine several times today, and
Yeah.
the last time our phone call hung up 4 times. So
Yeah.
there's
It
also
was,
the solar when it flares and stuff.
yeah, that's going on too. So, yeah.
It
But
is.
I got to tell you, you know, it's the little things about this show that I think are great. But for me, I think the best part of this show is, Lee, when you opened up about being a victim, I still think about that and I tear up. I mean, that was so powerful. And you never know what you're going to get with this show. And that's power right there. That's power for people when they watch that, and not to become a victim, because you went through it and you know how to tell people this is what happened to me. And I still believe that you saved a lot of people because
Thank
of
you.
that. And just all of us, we just all love each other on this show, and we
No, we
want to
do.
throw that love out to
Yeah.
everybody else and help and all that. So I'm tearing up now. So
I'm
probably 'cause I drank too
about
much
to
bourbon.
lose it. So, yep.
Hmm.
But I will say thanks to everybody watching, and
Yeah.
you guys. I'm gonna just say it right now. For anybody that's watching, one of our podcasters tonight, Mark, he has to work unfortunately, and then Chad and his honestly, they're going to kill me. His
Partner.
girlfriend
His
or
partner.
partner. They are both sick with COVID, and please get well. You got all our healing energy. Please send it
Yeah.
to them. It's Chad's unlocked,
Oh, I
and
got
he
one
does.
more. Got one more thing. Good friend of mine. I've been on his podcast. He's a big name here in our industry. Podcaster. Was in a very bad car accident.
Yes, I was going to
Mike
mention that.
Gagliano and all that. We're praying for him. He
Yes.
looks like he's on the better side from what they're saying, but
Thank
yeah, there's a
God.
long road
Yes.
recovery.
Yeah.
Good thing that he was in very good shape. That is always helpful when those types of things happen. Gwen knows that from working in the field too.
I was actually going to mention him, so I'm so glad that you did. And
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's got one of the greatest humors in this industry.
he cracks me up. Absolutely. He was on one of the shows with us, and he when he gets well, we're going to bring him back on one of them, at least one
I
of them.
think that would be a good idea. You know, that would be fantastic. So,
Yeah, and we're all praying for him, sending him healing. If any of his family friends, please tell him. Please tell him we're talking about him. So
shamanic healing for you, my brother. So yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys, I don't know what to say. I've got two. I mean, this is it for me. I don't have 2 more shows tonight.
Oh no! Maybe we could talk
What
longer.
am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I gotta start planning for next week. You know, I gotta talk to Stacia. We gotta put this whole Cleveland torso thing
Please,
together.
please.
Well,
I
I'm
can't
about to
wait to
message
have her.
Stacia. Yeah, I'm about to message her right now. I'm about to message Christy, because she honestly, she supports us every week, so she needs a little extra attention. Yeah,
Maybe if we do the Black Dahlia, she mentioned that. Maybe we should put her on with us too. Get her
I think
opinion.
so. I
Yeah.
think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely check it out. So you guys, I'm gonna message you in a few minutes, and I'm gonna get busy on some more Spotify, because we got plenty of episodes to upload, and it's not an easy process, by the way. So it does take a while, each one. So
yeah, okay, we'll get them all on there. So.
There are. We're going. We're
right.
getting there. So.
Yep.
All right, guys.
So that's all for our serial killers, supernatural, and murderers. Next week we'll have a whole new show, and they're working on it already. Thank you for watching. All right, let's see if I can hit the dang button. Let's see if I can hit the dang button. Where's the button?
Hit the button.